Hi friends, I'm Madhavta from Easy Approach and it's the 28th video of Flutter video series. In this video, we're gonna make BMI calculator application that you can see on the screen. The user has to give the height in centimeter and weight in kilogram in order to calculate his or her BMI. So if I click here at the calculate, you can see the BMI being abnormal. Now if I go back and try with some other values like with my own 160 around and 60 here, so if I calculate it, so now you can see the normal BMI and you can see the happy heart image at the top of the screen. So this is what we are going to achieve in this video series, and the best part about this video is it's totally free. You can watch it without paying any single penny. And before moving on, if you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel. And if you are first time watching my video series, then please go through my video series. You would find so many helpful things to learn. So now let's move forward. Now firstly, let's see what sort of dependencies we need to add and what sort of files we actually require for this project. So we will be basically using a heart image on the application. So we basically need to download it first. So I am going on the website, which is flaticon.com, and here you can get PNG, JPG or even SVG images and icons that you can use in your application. So it's a great resource for designers and developers. And now you need to download this SVG and you just need to click here. We'll use the SVG image for the application since I don't want to compromise the quality of image, because SVG means scalable vector graphics and you can scale whatever size you want on your application and the quality of the image will not be downgraded. And now we'll add the dependency to show the SVG images in our application. So we have a package for it. You can find on pub.dev and you just need to search flutter_svg and you just need to go on the installing tab, and here you'll find the dependency that you must need to add in your application so that you can use or show the SVG images. You just need to copy it and go in your project. And inside this pub_spec.yaml file, or in this file, you just need to add after Cupertino icon. And now you just have to click on this packages get and it will download this package, and now you can use this. And now I'm making a folder inside the root directory of my project with the name assets, where I'll store all the assets that I'll be using in the project. Since we are just for now using images, so I'm making another folder inside this with the name images. And now what we need to do, the image that we have just downloaded, we need to copy it, or you can cut it and you just need to paste it here and just name it anything you want. I'm naming it heart. Let me see where it is in the assets. So you just need to copy it and paste it inside this images. So this is good. We have done everything that we need as a prerequisite for this project, and now we can start with the designing of the application. Now firstly, what I'm doing, I'm removing all the existing code. That's actually the default code of the application. And now making my own widget, BMI screen or calculator. And now here I'll define a stateful widget. You can make or we should make another file for this. Now we need to go inside the lib, create a new dot file and just name BMI calculator screen. And now you just need to import material.dart file, which is mandatory, and I'm making here a stateful widget. And you need to give the same name that you have given inside the home of this material app. And now here we need to have a scaffold widget as a root widget. So this is it. We have actually make a home widget for this material app, but I think we haven't given the same name. Or we need to import this file. So just hover here and you need to import this file. Now this is good, and now we can proceed with the designing of the application. Now firstly, we need to define the body of the scaffold. So I'm going inside the scaffold, and here we have the property body, and we'll pass here single child scroll view. Since I want the content scrollable in the vertical direction, and I want to avoid the overflow in the vertical direction as well, that's the reason why I use here single child scroll view. And inside this, you need to define the child, and here you need to give the column widget, since I want to have different widgets in vertical direction. And now you can give here children, and inside this you need to give whatever you want to show in the vertical direction. Now firstly, we need to use the heart image at the top of the screen, so we need to place it inside this column widget first. So what we can do, we have basically svg picture, and here you need to pass the path of the svg image. So there we have actually we have saved in assets, and inside the assets we have images, and here we have the heart.svg image, and you just need to give here the path. So you can give here assets, images, and now you need to give the name of the image, that is heart.svg. But we can do one thing. Instead of just using svg image, we can wrap it inside the container, and we can give some customized width and height as well. So I'm giving here 300 and the height 300. Inside this, you need to paste whatever you cut. And here we have a property fit, and you can use box fit.contain. So it would cover the whole container. And now there's one more thing that you must need to do. In the pubspec.yml file, you need to define this folder, or you need to give the reference of this images folder that's inside the assets. So you can give assets/images, and if you have done this, then you can good to use the image. So let's run this. So now you can see the image, but I think we need to make it a bit smaller. I can use here 200 by 200. And now if I refresh it, so now it's a better size. And now what we need to do, we need to align this image at the center of the horizontal axis in the column widget. So what we can do, we can give the cross axis alignment, and here you can pass center. So it will align the image or all the content inside the column widget at the center of horizontal axis. And you need to wrap this column widget inside another container. So you can cut it and use here container, and inside this just define a width of double infinity, so that it covers the maximum available width of the screen. And now inside the children, you just have to paste whatever you cut, that is the column widget. And now if I refresh it, you can see the heart at the center of the horizontal axis. And now I want to add a bit padding or margin at the top of this heart, so that it looks properly, or it comes properly. So what we can do, we can give here margin, or what we can do another thing. We can define here padding inside the root of container, inside the root container actually. And now you can give here edge insets dot all, and here you can give whatever you want to apply the padding of. And now I'm giving here 32, and if I refresh it, now you can see the heart in the good position. Now after this image, we need to have some sort of tags. So we can give here a tags widget. Here it is. And now inside this, you can give whatever you want to show. Like Bmi calculator. And now you can style it as well. So let's give here text style. And inside this, you can change the color. I want it to be a bit red. And you can customize the red color as well by giving here the value. It should be in hundreds. And you can give the size as well here. And I want it to be like something around 28. And let's give it weight. So now I think this is good. Now if I refresh it, we can see the BMI calculator. I think we should increase the size more, and we can change the color bit. Now this is good. And now what we can do, we can also give here some space by using size box, and you can just give the height with it, and it would just create an empty space. Now if I refresh it, you can see a bit of space after this heart. Now let's make it 8 so that it looks good. Yeah, now it's good. Now we need to have some subtitle tags as well. So let's give any tags. You can give anything. It's just a placeholder. And now we need to have a grayish color for this text. And definitely we need to decrease the size, like something around 15, and make it W300. And now if I refresh it, now you can see the subtitle text as well. We can also make it W400. Yeah, now it's better. Now we need to proceed with the form actually, or all the widgets that will show to get the value from the user. Like we need to have, we need to get the weight or the height of the user. For taking input from the user, like about height and the weight, we'll use slider widget. So before using slider widget, let's make a label for the height so that we can indicate user we are asking about the height. So you can just copy from any of the text widget that we have just defined. And now we just need to change the title. So you can give here height in kg. Oh, sorry, height in centimeter. And now we need to increase the size of this as well, like something around 24. And if I refresh it, so you can see the height here, but we need to add some space after this text widget. And now we can give here some space by using size box. You can also give padding or margin, but I normally prefer using size box. And you can give here 32. And now it's a decent space. And now what we need to do, we need to make sliders so that we can take input from the user about the height. So what I'm doing, I'm making a container so that I can apply some padding, and I'll wrap my slider inside this container. So just give any padding you want. I'm giving here 16 pixels of padding around every side of this container. And here in the chart, you just need to make a slider. And now inside the slider, you must need to provide some of the properties. So the first property that you must need to define is this min. So whatever you pass here, it would be the minimum value that can be selected by this slider. So as we are just calculating the BMI for adults, so I'm passing here 80.0. You can give any value. And now there's a property maximum. So you can give any value. I'm giving here 250.0. And now there's the most important thing that you need to define is this on change, which is actually a callback. And here you'll get the value that would be selected by the user. So here it is. So you can give any name, and by this name you can get, or you can use the value that would be selected by the user. So what you need to do inside this, we actually need to save this value so that we can use it later for the calculation. So we need to define here a state variable, which would be double, and you can give any name like height of user. And let's give some initial value like 100.0. And now inside this, you need to update this value. So you can call set state as you are changing the state of the widget. And you just need to use, or you just need to update this value. Sorry, height. So this is the value that would be given by the user, and you are assigning this value to this height of user so that you can use it later for the calculation. And now there's one more property, or actually a couple of properties that you must need to define. The first one is the value, and here you need to pass the reference of your variable. So just give here value. And now there's one more thing, that's actually division. It's actually the number of division you want in your slider. So I want to divide my slider into 100 parts actually. So if I refresh it, You can see the slider, but I want the slider to be in red color, so we can give here active color, and you can give here red color. And there's one more property that you can define, is the label, so that you can show the selected value whenever the user is selecting the value from the slider. So you can pass here the reference of your variable, that is height of user. So if I refresh it, and now if I change the value, so you can see the value in the label of this slider, and you can select any value from 80 to 250. So that's good. And now we need to do the same work for the weight. But before making the slider for weight of the user, we can do one thing. You can see while the user is selecting the value from this slider, it's showing the selected value. But once he has done with the selection, there is no place where we have shown the selected value. So we must show the selected value after the slider. So what we can do, we can make a tags widget after this slider. So I'm just making here a tags widget. We can copy and paste, or you can use short keys. And here you need to pass the reference of height of user, and you can concatenate as well. And now we can just change the tags color, and we can change the size as well. And now if I refresh it, you can see the selected value as well. But you can see there is so much space between this slider and this text. So we can minimize this by just using here only. And we can just use left 16 and right 16. And now if I refresh it, you can see now there is less space. And now we can copy this and paste it again, so that we can make the slider for weight as well. So just copy this all. I don't prefer normally to copy and paste the code, but since we have limited time, I'm doing it, and I prefer you to write the code again. And now we just need to use here weight, that would be in kilogram actually. And now we need to make another variable so that we can store the value of weight. So just come here at the top, and I just created already. And now what you can do, I've just given here 40.0, which is the default or the initial value of the weight. So as we are calculating the BMI for adults, so we just need to give the minimum value here something around 30, and the maximum value something around 120. You can give any value. And now you need to replace this height of user with the weight of user. And now here you can use kilogram. And now if I refresh it, you can see another slider for the weight. And now we need to use some space, or we need to have some space between these two sliders. So what we can do, we can use here a size box again, and you can give any height. And now if I refresh it, you can see some space between these sliders, or you can give 24 as well. Now it's a decent space. And now after all, we need to make a button, so that whenever the user tap on the button, we calculate the BMI. So what we need to do, we just need to make a flat button, and you can use here icon as well. And now we need to define 3 different properties. The first one is label, and you can give any tags you want to show here on this button. Now let's give some icon here. You can use any icon. And now inside the on press, we'll do the calculation part, but for now I'm just leaving it empty. And you can do one more thing. You can cut this and you can wrap it inside the container. And now we can give the width of this container to infinity. And we can add some margin as well, or we can add some padding. Left 16 and right 16. And we need to give the color, or we should refresh it. So now we need to give some color for this flat button so that it comes properly. And now you can see it in a better way, but we need to change the text color, and you can change the text color by using text color, and you can give here anything you want. Now that's good. And now what we can do, we can use here again size box so that we can add some space, something around 16. So now I think it's a good button, and now I think it's now good. And what we can do, we can change a little color of the design as well, because it's all red. So what we can do, we can change I think the button color, we can change it to purple, or we have some pink. So if I refresh it, now it's a better color. And we can change, we can give this color to the indicator or to the sliders as well. So you can change here. And now if I refresh it, now it's a better design because we have two different colors. Now we have designed the form so that we can get the values from the user, and now we just need to calculate and we need to show the value. Now inside the on press, we'll calculate the BMI. So let's see the formula for the BMI first. Here we have the formula for the BMI, which is weight, which is in kilogram, divided by a square of the height, which is in meter. But we have taken the height in centimeter, so we, before applying the formula, must need to convert the height, which is in centimeter, into meter by dividing it by 100. So let's move forward and write this formula. So now let's make a variable for BMI so that we can calculate and store the value. So now let's make a double variable and write here BMI and initialize it something like 0 or any value. And now inside the on press, we need to update the value of BMI by applying the formula. So you can call here set state, and inside this we need to write this formula basically, which is weight in kilogram divided by square of the height, which is in meter. But we need to convert the height into centimeter. So firstly, I am writing here BMI equals to, now firstly you need to write here weight of user, which is already in kilograms, so you don't need to play or change this value. And now inside this you need to write here the square of the height, but in centimeter. So I can write here height of user, and we can convert it into meter by dividing it by 100. And now we should write the same thing, as we need to find the square of it and we need to wrap it. So this is how you can write the formula. So it's just a weight and it's divided by the square of the height, which is in meter. And now we can print this value to see if it is correctly working. So now if I refresh it, let's open this run. And now if I, with the same value, just click here on the calculate, it should print some BMI value. So here you can see it's showing something like 11.044. So it means it's working. Now we need to make or maintain the result. We have now BMI. Now we need to make the result, like we need to check if it's in the normal range or if it's not in the normal range, and we need to add some remarks, and then we need to navigate to the different screen, which will be the result screen, and there will be showing some result of the BMI. Now for storing the BMI that will be showing on the result screen, we need to make a model for BMI. So I'm going in the project directory, and inside the lib, I'm just making another class with the name Bmi Model. And here inside this class, we basically need to have 3 different properties, or you can have number of properties you want, but the main properties are basically 3. The first one is the value of BMI that we have just calculated, so it would be double, and you can name anything like BMI. And now we need to have some sort of flag by which we can identify if the BMI is normal or not. So you can write here bool is normal. So it would be true if the BMI would be in normal range. And now the third thing is we need to add some sort of comments about the BMI. I mean, if it is normal or not, or if the user is underweight or overweight or his fit. So we can make here a string field for it, and you can name here comments. And now you can make constructor for this BMI model. And this is how you can make the constructor. Now you have done with this BMI model, and now we can proceed to the next step. Now we need to make the BMI model object so that we can save the information and we can send it to the result screen. So what I'm doing, I'm making a BMI model object at the top. Give any name. And now you need to initialize it inside the on press. You can remove this. And you can write BMI model, and you can call the constructor, and inside this you need to pass three different things. The first one is the BMI, which you have just calculated, and you can pass it. And now you have two different properties. Since we haven't determined the is normal or the comments, I mean we haven't yet determined if the BMI is light in the normal form, in the normal range or not. So what we can do, we need to first make sure if it is lying in the normal range or not. So for this we have a standard. Basically I have downloaded this image where we can see the normal range of the BMI is from 18.5 to 25, and after this and before this everything is abnormal. So what we can do, we first need to check if the BMI is lying between this range from 18.5 to 25, and then we can in the else set the is normal to the false. So for now let's remove this line and let's make three different cases. The first one would be the normal case. If the BMI is greater than equals to 18.5 and the BMI is less than or equals to 25, it would be the normal range actually. So what we can do, we can pass here in the BMI object is normal true. But let's make other cases as well. Like if the BMI is less than 18.5, and now we have another case. If the BMI is greater than, what's the case actually, greater than 25 to 30. So it would be the case when the user is actually overweighted. And now the third one, whenever the BMI would be greater than 30. So we can just use here else. So these are four different cases. For this case, it's a normal case actually. So we'll make the BMI model like this, BMI model. And you can pass here BMI. And as it is normal, so we can pass here true. And in the comments, we just give your BMI is normal. Or not, we can give here you are fit. And this is it. Now we need to make the object in these cases as well. So this is not normal, obviously, so we can pass here false. You are underweighted. And here you need to pass, and here you need to give you are overrated actually. And for all of the cases apart from the first one, we need to pass is normal false. So we have now calculated the BMI, and we have created the BMI model as well, and it is containing all the essential information that we need in order to send to the result screen. Now we need to make the result screen, and we need to show the data. So let's move forward, and now let's make the result screen. So I'm making here another dot file. So let's name it result screen, and you need to import here material.dart file. And for now, let's make a stateless widget. With the same name, result screen. You need to have here, you need to return the scaffold, and in the body, you need to have single child scroll view. And inside this, you need to have a container. It's totally the same that we have done in the last BMI calculator screen. So as you can see here, we have defined container with the width infinity. So you can give here same. And inside this, we can just use column widget, but we need to give some padding as well. So you can just use here column widget, and you can give padding as well that I just cut from the BMI calculator screen. And now inside this, we need to do a few things. First one, we need to show everything in the center. So we can give here cross axis alignment center, and for the main axis alignment, we can also give center. And now inside the children, we'll place different widgets to show the result. But before moving on to the design, we can do one thing. We need to navigate to this screen, result screen, after the user has tapped on this calculate button. So we can do one thing. So what we can do inside this, we can use navigator dot push, and here you need to pass the context, and here you can use material page root, and inside this we have a property builder, and here you can pass the context, and you just need to return the screen on which you want to go. So that's the result screen on which we want to go. And there's one more thing, that we need to send this BMI model inside this result screen. So what we should do, we need to create here a final variable, which would be the BMI model. And now we need to make the constructor so that we can initialize it from outside. So this is it. Now we need to send it as well. So you can pass here by passing BMI model. And now we can access this BMI model in the result screen. Now if I tap on the button, it should navigate to the second screen, which is the result screen. And for now it's empty. So you can see the empty screen, and it's actually the result screen. Now initially what I need to do on this screen, I need to show some sort of image like I did in the BMI calculator screen. Like here we have the heart image, and here I want to show some sort of similar image, but different in the case of if it's normal, and different if it is not normal. So I have basically two images that I found. Here we have the sad image of heart, so you can download the SVG. And here we have the happy image of heart. So it will be the case when the BMI would be in normal range actually. So now what we can do, we can move this into our project. So this is actually the sad one. Let's give it name sad.svg. Oh, it's actually the happy one. So let me see if we can rename it. I don't think we can rename it, so we can for now delete it. And now we can again move this to our project directory with the correct name. So this is happy actually. So now this is good. And now we need to move the second image, which is the sad image, in the project directory as well. So let's give here sad. So now here we have two different images. Now firstly, what we need to do, we need to identify if the BMI that we have just received in this result screen is normal or not. So you can do it by using the BMI model that we have just received. So what we can do, we first need to use here a container like we use here, or we can copy and paste the same thing. And we need to import this SVG. And here we pass happy. But we will show this SVG image if the BMI, actually the BMI in the normal range. So you can identify it by checking BMI.isNormal. You can see all the properties are public, so we can access it outside easily. And if it is normal, we need to show the happy image. And if it is not, we need to use SVG picture with some different image, with the sad image actually. And now if I refresh it, as we have let me rerun it. So for the initial values or the default value, the BMI is not in the normal, so it should show the sad image. So you can see here the sad image. Now we can proceed, and now we need to use a text widget here. So we can cut the same thing and we can paste here. We need to show the BMI value of the user. So you can write here your BMI is, and here you need to use your BMI model. Sorry. And you can get the BMI by using .bmi, because in your model it's actually the BMI, so you can access it. Now if I refresh it, so you can see the BMI is 40. Oh my god, it's so much. So now let's make another text widget. Or we can just give here your BMI is normal or not. And now let's make another text widget to show the comments as well. So I'm just copying this, and here we'll use just the comments. And we need to decrease the size, like something around 18, and we need to change the color as well. And now if I refresh it, you can see the comments as well. We should make a bit darker, so we can give here 700, and that's good. And now I need to give some sort of some more text as well. So you can give here one more thing, that some text that indicates that it's a normal or it's not normal. So you can give here your BMI is normal. And you can give here some different color, or you can give the same color. Let's run it. I think it's so much. We should decrease the size. Now we should use some space by using size box, and we can give any height. And in the case when the BMI is normal, we should show this text widget, and if it is not normal, we'll show some different. Your BMI is not normal. So we first need to check the BMI model dot is normal. If it is true, then we should show this, else we need to show this text widget instead. So if I rerun it, you can see this the message, sadly your BMI is not normal. And since we haven't occupied all the vertical space, what we can do, we can remove this single child scroll view, and we can just use the container inside the body of a scaffold. And now we can give the height infinity. So now if I refresh it, you can see everything in the center. Now we need to make a button here as well, so that we can navigate back if we want to recalculate. So we can copy the code from here, and you can use here after this. And we should remove all these inside the on press. And we just need to use here navigator.pop in order to go back. And just change it. Let's calculate again. And we should change the icon as well to the back. And now if I refresh it, you can see the button as well. So it would be better if we add some space here as well. Now this is perfect. So if I calculate again with some different values, like I have almost 60 kilogram of weight, and the height is actually, I know in foot actually, so let's give it around the 160. So if I calculate it, so wow, my BMI is in the normal form and I'm totally fit. Now we can go back and recalculate it and play with different values you want. So this is it from this video, but one thing that we can do, it's looking quite awkward to have so many digits after point. So what we can do, we can use here round function. And now if I refresh it, now this look better. And this is it from this video. In this video we have learned so many things. We have used the SVG images, we have made a proper application, we have added functionalities, we have learned about designing in Flutter. So it's a complete package to learn. So if you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe my channel and follow the complete series so that you can learn Flutter with easy approach. So thank you for watching.